So thanks for joining me, guys. This is a quick tutorial on the Betaflight configuration for the Happymodel SailFly-X 3S FPV racer drone. Now once you've bound it to your Taranis QX7 in my case, or whatever transmitter you have, there are a few settings in Betaflight that you're going to need to configure. Have a look at the firmware that you have on your SailFly. So hook it up to Betaflight, go into upgrade firmware. Now if you're using Betaflight 10.5.1, you're going to have to do some adjustments in the CLI. So I'll get back to that shortly. And I'm actually using the latest 4.0.5 firmware for this SailFly drone. So I'll go ahead and connect the drone and quickly run through the settings that you guys are going to need to get yourselves up in the air. Okay, so once you're connected, general setup here, it's all pretty self-explanatory. There's not too much to do here. You can do a recalibration of your axis or your accelerometer from here if you wish to do so. What you want to do though is make sure that your pitch, your roll, heading is all correct here. So make sure what you're doing in your hand is what's happening on the screen. Okay, so down to ports, you'll find this one selected, so these settings here don't need to change. Configuration, again, make sure you got your quad X and your mixer is 4231 in the direction shown here. Don't reverse it. Factory should come 8K and 8K for your gyro and your PID loop. Turn on accelerometer, those two stay off. Working our way down, everybody recommends the speed r-x support will come up automatically, but make sure you got the Frsky D there, which is the D8 on your Taranis. Going down, a number of these are selected. However, I find unselect everything other than your telemetry and your OSD. All the other gear is really just going to get in your way. I actually have these beeping, they should be turned on, so I'll actually turn those on in case you lose it. And of course all these are all set on for your beeper configurations and warnings and disarmings and everything. Now working at the top, your standard D-Shot 600 needs to be selected. Make sure you've highlighted motor stop, and I've throttled this down to 4.5, otherwise the motors tend to slightly spin. So that's the configuration. Power and battery, I haven't touched this at all, excepting my maximum cell voltage. Looking at some tutorials, they advise sticking it on your 4.3 instead of 4.5, as it tends to cope better with the 3-cell battery pack on this. I'll say I haven't touched anything here, so I think everything's cool. Now my PID tuning, I wouldn't alter this too much. However, these settings here are quite aggressive. They do work. I have tried changing them with not a great deal of success. Okay, so your receiver, make sure you have your TAER 1234, and these values here I haven't changed for your stick thresholds, centers, etc. And I haven't changed any smoothing either. And again, if your roll, pitch and yaw aren't corresponding with your Taranis stick movements, then you have some troubles as well. So you can see I have just my auxiliary disarm switch there at the moment. Okay, so your on-screen display for your FPV, you can select here whatever you want. You can actually move things around too. Stick your low voltage down here. It's probably better sort of sitting down there rather than right up in the middle. You can get rid of the logo if you want. Sensors I haven't touched, logging I haven't touched, black boxes I haven't touched. Now we'll go into CLI here, and there's something you're going to need to do, because if you just punch in everything that I have showed you, what's going to happen is when you end up having a fly for the first time, when you pitch forward, it's not going to go forward, it's actually going to go back. Your left's going to be your right and right's going to be left. So what you need to do is enter the CLI. What I actually did was I did a dump and I saved all these settings into a notepad in case I messed up the profiles that I have now. So just a matter of copying them and pasting them into a notepad, and when you want to put them back again, copy them again and right click down here and go paste, but do it in bunches. Don't do it all at once, it would glitch, so do it in 5 or 6 different segments. It means you're using Betaflight 10.5.1, which means you're going to need to enter these figures down here, otherwise your SailFly won't fly. So I'm going to leave a picture on the screen here so you can actually see what it is. But basically you want to type in 6 lines, resource, space, motor, space 1, space B07, and hit enter. So, and then you'll see the resource, motor 2, motor 3, motor 4, and then a set gyro sensor align, and then save. Unless you do this, what's on the screen right now, unless you type this in to your CLI and make sure save, your SailFly is going to go all over the place, and it's going to flip and it's going to carry on like a pork chop. Thanks for dropping by. Smash that thumbs up, drop us a comment. Plenty more SailFly-X videos to come, and